guys, Dave Schmitz, ResistanceBandTraining.com, coming to you today with a little bit of a thought on how to go ahead and lengthen your shoulder out real effectively, but also how to stabilize it real effectively. You know, when we talk about the shoulder, one of the things the shoulder really loves is to have the shoulder be stretched and mobilized by moving the body on the arm. So that means you need to have a stationary attachment or a stationary hold while you're moving your body on your arm. Really loves that. Second thing it likes is it likes joint distraction, all right? So that means you're going to need to have something that elastically, or in this case, we're going to use the band, lengthens out or distracts the joint while you're stretching it. He loves those two things. The last thing is you want to be able to stretch it with your feet on the ground so that you can integrate the hips, which is then going to integrate the thoracic spine and the scapula, which is then going to ultimately stretch the shoulder much more effectively. So as a result of that, I want to take you through how I like to use the band to stretch my shoulder and why you want to go ahead and start incorporating that. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about shoulder stability. But first, let's talk about stretching. I've got the band hooked up onto my bar. Again, it works out pretty well. The length of the bar is very effective because it's 48 inches long. Gives you plenty of elevation, and especially when we drop ourselves down. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is I take my hand and I hook it through the band, and that allows me to go ahead and not have to grip the band, but in this case, the band grips my arm. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go through, and you notice I'm moving my body on my arm, and I'm going to lengthen it out. Some people call it a little bit of ballistic stretching. I want to call it controlled active stretching. You're really trying to kind of get the shoulder warmed up by taking it through ranges of motion. Now, when I get to here, two things are happening. The elbow's getting stretched, the anterior shoulder's getting stretched, but it's getting stretched because I'm moving my body on my arm. So again, the stretch is coming through this direction versus from my fingertips inward. That's going to be very important. Your shoulder's going to enjoy doing that. So again, this is just a simple setup. Anterior shoulder stretch, open up, let your shoulder open up and stretch. You can drop down. You can go ahead and even turn yourself more, so you get even more of a shoulder stretch. You can let your arm turn in and work even a little bit of internal rotation of the shoulder. But again, what you want to be aware of is when you start doing that, don't put that bicep tendon in a proximate or in a bad position. Don't overload that rotator cuff. Make sure you're relaxed and you're letting your body move on your arm. That's real important that you let that shoulder stretch that way. Let's look at the posterior compartment of the shoulder. We're going to use the left hand in this case. Again, I'll just set the hand onto the band. Now, a couple ways you can stretch it is one, start out here and just let your shoulder stretch out by putting yourself in a sagittal plane and going into a transverse plane. This is going to allow my shoulder to rotate and really lengthen out posteriorly. If I drop down, I'm going to be able to get my lat, and now I still have my free hand available, so I can even get in and do some simple soft tissue mobilization through that lat. Really works out well. The distraction of the shoulder allows it to relax and really lengthen out effectively, especially when you incorporate breathing and relaxation stuff with it. Now I'm going to set myself so I'm perpendicular to attachment so I can get even more transverse plane, more posterior cuff stretching. I can go into a bent over position, which is going to allow me to rotate even more. And in the meantime, I'm shifting my hips. So again, now you can get your hips involved a little bit as you're stretching. But the key is, I'll come back again, move your body on your arm. My arm is completely relaxed and lengthening out, all right? So there's some great ways to go ahead and stretch. Remember, you can get overhead by just dropping down and letting yourself lengthen out that way. So that's just some shoulder stretching.